Best Captain America in Heroclix. Tier maker. Let's see. Let's see how well it's going here. Make sure it's all working. I think it is. I believe so. Let me just make sure we're getting it. Okay, cool. We're going. All right, sweet. So here we have the tier list. I just made this morning. Here's some quick rules. All right, guys, some quick ground rules. It has to be Steve Rogers named Captain America. So it has to have the name Captain America, and it has to be real name Steve Rogers. We are not going to be doing any Cap Wolves, any Venom Captain Americas, any Carnage Captain Americas, any of those. Those are not going to be allowed. Sam Wilson Cap, John Walker Cap, Samantha Cap, all these other people that aren't Steve Rogers are also not allowed. Things like Skrull Captain America, not going to be allowed. There are a few technically alternate universes in here, like an Ultimates Captain America, like an Earth X Captain America, but those guys are goated. They just are. So they're allowed to be in this list. So it's not purely 616 Steve. There are also none of the duos. So Cap and Bucky, Captain America and Bucky, and Captain America and Black Widow and Avengers Prime are not going to be in any of these. They're not going to be allowed. Normal Steve Rogers. The legacy cards are going to be separate from the original releases. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to try to do this in order. So first up, okay, so some of these figures are going to be bundled together. So this guy right here, this is going to be every single Infinity Challenge Captain America that isn't the LE, mostly because they didn't have different images for this guy. And also, they're all very similar. This guy, we're going to start here. He's downright unpatriotic. I hate Infinity Challenge Captain America. The way they did Captain America is so dirty with charge ESD. Back then, it's so bad. He has this long dial. He has some leadership. He has some outwit. But he's got like some 8 attacks, bro. Like, he's got some low attack values. Straight up unpatriotic. We can't be having Infinity Challenge Captain America. Now, LE Infinity Challenge Captain America, aka Bossy Nurse Captain America, very similar dial, but he's slightly better. Just kidding. He is also downright unpatriotic. These first Captain Americas, they suck. Yeah, they're not good at all. So both the Infinity Challenges, they're downright unpatriotic Captain Americas. Not great sculpts, not great dials, not a good version of Captain America, really. Now, we don't have another Captain America, I believe, until Ultimates here. Yeah, Ultimates is next. Now, I am splitting up the 3 Ultimates Captain Americas. So first up is Rookie. He's going to go pretty solidly into the D tier. If we look at the Rookie Ultimates Captain America here, he's just not good. He starts with, I believe, a 10 attack. This is the one that will later be better, but this dial for 72 points, even back then, it's not doing it for me. He doesn't have the Ultimates team ability. I can't go with, oh, whoops, this is Armor Wars Captain America. Sorry. Let's grab, where is the Rookie Ultimate? There he is. These actually have their dials on them. So he's going to be D. Now, the next Captain America, I am going to put this one in C tier, mostly because he's not much different, but he just has better stats. He has an 11 instead of a 10. He has ultimates. He's got a better power spread. He also has shield, soldier, and ultimates keywords. They're very solid. And then you may think that we might put this guy higher because he has a 12 attack. He's probably going to go around the same. He's 103 points. It's still that you want to push for him to be better. So Veteran Ultimates Captain America is not going to be much higher. We're going to put him in the same tier. Sadly, I can't put him really in B. You know what? We're going to put him in B. We might move him. We'll have to see here. Okay, we'll have to see. Now, this list, and I forgot to say this right away, we are doing this based off like sculpt, based off dial, And then based off, abilities, so like the dial and powers and stats, sure, kind of how good they are, but like, do the abilities feel like Captain America? Does the sculpt feel like Captain America? I would say sculpt alone, this is like one of the better Captain America sculpts. I'd say this is a B tier sculpt, just like purely sculpt alone. So next up, we have the Armor Wars Captain America. This guy's going D tier. Armor Wars rookie's just not good. We don't like Armor Wars rookie. We can't stand by him. He's just, I don't like it. Now, Armor Wars veteran, he's a lot of the same. Armor Wars experienced is also going to go in a D tier. He's just not that great. Don't like him that much. We can't vibe with Armor Wars veteran. Or sorry, Armor Wars experience. But Armor Wars veteran, oh baby, this was my go-to Captain America dial for the longest time. I love the 8 clicks. And yes, I know this guy also has 7. They both have long dials. The 11 with impervious. Oh my gosh, love it. Love it, love it, love it. This guy was my go-to cap. Biggest thing that he brings is the 2 targets. The 2 targets change is so good. He also has Avengers TA. Do all these guys have it? No. So only these 2 have it. This guy, he goes to B tier. I really like this guy. He's an instant B tier for me. He was my go-to cap for a while, so I had to do him right. Next up, after Armor Wars, we have the Avengers set Captain America. This is Ultimate's cap. This potato face cap. I don't like this dial. It's cool that it's really long. I like that he goes up to a 12. But Potato Face Captain America is just one of the worst sculpts in Heroclix, period. So much so that I did like rip off the sculpt of my original and replaced it with something else. So like, Potato Face Cap is D tier. I'm not gonna put him downright unpatriotic because he looks cool. He looks cool enough, but I can't stand the Potato Face sculpt. I just can't. Sorry, not sorry. Secret Invasion is Isaiah. This one's easy. This is a true American. This is our first true American on the list, and it's none other than Hammer of Thor, Smoky Foot Captain America. This is an instant true American. I don't know how you could place this guy anywhere else. If you played him at the time and you know what we're talking about here, this is an iconic Captain America. He instantly gets true American. He deserves it. Holy smokes, he's amazing. He sees through everything but walls and indoor blocking. The shield just going straight through outdoor buildings and elevated. And the more comic way you would think of that is it bounces off everything, so it eventually reaches his target. But really, it felt like you were just slinging that bad boy through everything, and it was really cool. This is also, I don't know if we've ever had a better Captain America sculpt. Even though he's just standing there, that's it. The detail on his suit, the scaling, his expression, the smoke at the feet, the fact that a war and the fog of war is like clearing, and he's like looking on like a battle after it's done, and all the smoke from fighting and everything is starting to clear. The rubble at the feet is so good. Smoky Foot Cap is instantly, we would say S tier, but we're going to call it True American tier. Same thing with like A, B, C, D, E. This would be F tier, ironically. We skip E for some reason, but like F tier is unpatriotic, and then S tier is just True American Captain America here. He's goated. He's goated. Next up, the Captain America set. So we get the first version of Wall Bounce Cap. Wall Bounce Cap is going to be our first A tier, where he's like a really solid rendition of Captain America. I like him. I like him a lot. I think a lot of people like him, even before he's like the first cap with Defenders, which is really neat. The idea of giving Invaders the Defenders team ability. It's one of the coolest sculpts for Captain America. But the shield effect, I never liked. I never liked the idea that, I have to go and run and pick up my shield. That's weird. That's weird. It should always bounce. It should always come back to him. I understand that missed attacks are missed attacks, but to me, that's like, I missed the target. But Cap is like, he's so smart. It's going to bounce and come back, like, no matter what. It rarely ever does unless someone, like, grabs it or something. So, this is baller. I like this guy. I think he's a solid A tier. Honestly, we might have to change that. I think he's a B tier. And I say that, but, like, so, like, this guy was a go-to cap for a while for me. This guy was a go-to cap. He was never a go-to cap, but he has one of the best sculpts just ever for Heroclix, but it also made no sense that Captain America was lugging around a wall with him, We're going to put him in B tier. We might change that. I was just thinking, like, his legacy card is probably A tier, but he himself really doesn't fit A tier, so we're going to keep going. Next up in the Captain America set is Ice Steve. Ice Steve had a good wall bounce effect. I liked Ice Steve. Hey, happy 4th of July, Anthony B. Hope you're enjoying it. Hope you're having a good time. Ice Steve is solid, but he is probably. Oh, man, this is tough. I don't necessarily want to slam him in C tier. I think he's another B tier Captain America. I mean, amazing sculpt. Is he A tier? He might be. I think we're okay. We're gonna put Ice Steve in A tier. We have to look at Ice Steve again. I love Ice Captain America. I love that he's Avengers. That upgrade is so cool. Range attack, he can additional target within 3 squares and line of fire the first and divide. Yeah, that's so cool. This is such a good way to do this, the second deflection, the shield bounce. We're gonna give him A tier. Amazing sculpt. Sometimes that star is a little messed up, but amazing sculpt, amazing Avengers #4, first appearance of Captain America into the Silver Age of comics. I think A tier is solid for Ice Cap, for Chase Ice Cap. I'm cool with that. Avengers movie, okay, Avengers movie's a ton of Captain Americas. These are really rough. So we're gonna go first into the fray, Captain America. I think they all are like showing like this like same sculpt. So first into the fray, Captain America. I like the sculpt, but he's B tier. That's just true. The fact that Cap makes the first attack, he modifies his attack value +1 is really cool. I like his point value. I like the costume. The Avengers costume is not the best costume for Captain America, but I do still really like this Captain America. He's B tier. He's not A tier. He was never like my go-to Cap. He was never anything like that. But yeah. Next up, we're gonna go the let's go. Yeah, we'll go World War II rare Captain America from the Avengers movie. Here's the tough thing about this Captain America: he's 90 points, and he never has higher than a 2 damage. And technically, this is like our main Steve Rogers from the movie. He goes to C tier because he is really rough. Again, it's a better sculpt though, which is the only reason he's not D tier is because he has such a good sculpt. That's, in my opinion, it's a really solid Captain America sculpt. I really like it. The shield raised, the World War II costume, it was a good costume back then. It's still a good costume now, 10 years later. Wow, crazy. That's it's been like 10 years. It's actually been 12 years since that movie. Jeez, goodness gracious, way too long. But this set, about 11-year-old set, good costume, 2 damage the entire dial. His big 3 power, which lets him roll 3 dice for an attack, is so good, but it's only on his last 2 clicks. So it's just like he's a very mid Captain America. He's C tier. Now this one, he gets to be B tier. Costume alone. Wow, is that a cool costume? I love the army regalia with the leather jacket with the helmet he took from one of the show dance girls, and then the stars and stripes seeing through the chest. This was a goated costume in the movie. Love the classic triangle shield that with the dent from Red Skull in it. So good from the first rescue of Bucky Barnes in that movie. And he deserves the B tier slot. He's not quite A tier. He's never quite like a go-to Captain America, but man, is he just really solid. He has the 3 damage, which we like to see on a Captain America opening up. He has a really fun leap climb power, which is really cool. Let's actually go over that just a little bit, just because it is so fun. Yeah, love the leap climb ability there at the end. We love the Howlers. Let's go. Cool leadership. He hasn't thrown this shield yet, so he has no range. The leap climb lets him like move his full leap climb, and then he can then back then power action to close combat expert. So I really like this Captain America. Only bummer thing is that he has a 10 attack, and then he goes on to some 9 attacks down dial with CCE. So that's not amazing. So we covered that cap. We did that cap. We did this cap. Okay, now we have to go first Avenger Captain America. This one's like fine. He gets to have super strength with light objects. It's okay. It's nothing amazing. So we're gonna put him in B. We're gonna put him in C tier because he's just not great. The being able to pick up light objects with super strength is kind of neat. I guess, did I save first Avenger Captain America from the starter set? I don't believe I did. Ooh, uh-oh, stinky. I think we're gonna skip first Avenger Captain America then. He would have probably been a B tier character because I did like the shield token, but he had like a 16 toughness starting, so it's just he's really tough. Really tough Captain America to get behind. Okay, next up, after Avengers movie, we're gonna start with Chaos War. I hate all the Captain Americas in Chaos War. Not a single one is good. So 001 Chaos War Captain America, where is he? I think we're gonna go with this guy. We're gonna call him, he is straight up D tier. He is bad. There's nothing about this dial. He's got 16 toughness. He goes down to a 14 combat reflexes. Got some in cap, some weird clicks. Don't like it at all. Not good. Now This one's a little better. This is a running shot shield throw Captain America. He's got traded toughness the entire time, which we can kind of mess with. He has this weird shield ability. It's better now with Avengers. He's at least 11 for 3 top dial, traded toughness. This one is going to get like C tier. It's still not great. It's still not very good, but it's way better than the other one. This one, honestly, he's going to go to downright patriotic. He is bad. He is unpatriotic. He is really bad. I can't go with it. Yes, absolutely. Choose to oppose his mighty shield. Must yield. You're 100% right. But yeah, downright unpatriotic, this first one. The second one, he's C tier. He's cool. He's not as cool as these guys, but he's got some decent abilities. Now, the Fast Forces one has this really cool pseudo stop click if he's next to an Avenger. So like that's a cool ability. That's also a C for me. I don't think he's better than this Captain America, but he's not terrible. So he's going to go C tier. Going to kind of flush out. You'll find there's a lot of mid Captain Americas that we're going to like go through today, but that's Chaos War. Again, rough Captain Americas. Okay. 10th anniversary. 10th anniversary. 10th anniversary gets, as we wait for this to load, 10th anniversary sculpt alone is goated. So that makes it an instant B tier for sure. Just because of how good this sculpt is. You can't tell me this sculpt is not just like one of the best sculpts ever of all time for Heroclix. The up on the sandbags, going over, pistol in hand, shield helmet, round shield, cool like army helmet on. Goated sculpt. One of the best common sculpts ever. I get it was gravity feed and all the sculpts were a little bit better because it was such a small set. This dude's instantly B tier. He honestly, sculpt alone makes him A tier. Yeah, I can't not give it to him. Again, the dial is just Ultimate's Captain America for the dial. Like, that's all this is. It's just slightly better Ultimate's Captain America. He has the whole Secret Invasion thing where he turns into a scroll. He has Avengers Initiative, which isn't as good anymore, honestly. So we'll get to those in a bit, Saul. But we'll definitely see where those line up. Sam Cap's not on this list because she's not a Steve Rogers, but she is OP. She would be like an A tier or true American tier, honestly, for how like solid she is. I believe after this is Tab App. Tab App Captain America gets a lot of hates, which makes sense. The Tab Apps get a lot of hate, but he gets to give out ESD. He's kind of fun. He's not unpatriotic, but he's definitely not as good as our B tier stuff. He's going to go C tier. Just for being a fun Captain America, he's a little overcosted, though. So, I like Tab App Cap. I actually played him a lot. But, again, it's one of those Captain Americas where I ripped the sculpt off and put a different sculpt on because it's so ugly and gross to look at. And it's Tab App sculpt's not good. Where are we in history? We're skipping Fear Itself because that's Bucky Cap. That's not Steve Rogers, okay? We're going to go to Avengers vs. X-Men at the time. Okay, at the time. Avengers vs. X-Men Captain America, wow. Groundbreaking, 18 impervious, invulnerability, great reducers, but his attack ability was like this weird like in cap, and he's just so overcosted for 200 points. He's gonna go C tier, and I hate to put ABX Cap in C tier because I did play him a lot, and at the time he was like, oh man, go to Cap for a little bit, but man, he's just aged so poorly, and really the weird in cap power is so bad. His 100-point line is just awful. I can't vibe with. Now we're only doing this as if he's both the 200 and 100 point line. I don't think both change that much. Like the dude has like a 15 randomly in there. This is just, he only has 2 clicks and 11. I love the ignores hindering, ignores characters. I love that. I love his leadership ability. I love his combat reflexes. Choose that one or ESD. But ultimately, it's because his takedown power, and he's just so overcosted. Man, I feel bad putting him in C. He doesn't quite deserve C. We're going to put him in B tier. He doesn't quite deserve C. He's just overcosted is all. That's his biggest problem. Okay. Next up, I think we're going Winter Soldier movie. Okay, Winter Soldier movie, easy A tier for the first main set Captain America #1. He had like one of the best shield throw, shield bounce abilities. Only bad thing is he had stealth in his like starting click. No running shot was tough, but man, this Captain America, really, really good. Love him. A tier for sure, purely based off of the shield throw ability. At 125, he's a little overcosted. He did some anti-theme team stuff, which was really cool. His espionage trait was neat. And yeah, this guy was an iconic Captain America for a while, so I think he deserves A tier. If you guys want to look at the dial really quick, this is what it was. It was Avengers Initiative, it was Shield. This for 125 at the time wasn't bad. Stealth wasn't as easily to bust. He has improved movement, ignores characters. I wish he would have started with running shot. It would have been so much better. But the shield bounce is just so solid. We can't not respect the shield bounce. Now, World War II Captain America from the same movie. This is one that actually isn't technically World War II. It's later on in the movie when he wears this. I love his leadership, and I love his shield token, where he has no action tokens. He had a shield token if he doesn't have it already. When he has it, he has ESD. It's by the way, this was the first character, I think, in Heroclix that had 2 bolts printed without having a range value. So this guy was ahead of the time, really. And he had charge with, like, EE energy explosion. You were like, what is happening here? So I love the uniqueness of this dial. I like the regen on the end to reference that he does have a really good healing factor, like to repair his muscles and everything. So that's really cool. This guy, he might be a solid B tier. I believe, what is it? When it makes a range shot attack, you remove the shield token unless the attack was a hit and it was doubles. So this was like, I'm not as good with the shield. This is a solid B tier Captain America. I don't feel comfortable putting him in A. But he was really solid. He was really fun. He was a very unique design for a Captain America. Next up is the starter set version of the Winter Soldier movie, which I have to double check this one. Yeah, he was not good. I like the stop click at the end. That was really cool. The stealth suit is neat. He has stealth 3 next turn. He has no action tokens. He ignores hindering terrain for movement. That's fine. Back then, that was fine. But yeah, the sidestep in cap, double target, not into this Captain America. I think he's going D-list. It feels bad putting him in D-list, but I think that's where he goes. I think it's just really tough. I think it's a really tough ask. Next up is the Age of Ultron movie. Wow, we don't get any Captain Americas until the movie. So, Age of Ultron I absolutely loved. We have 2 caps here. This guy's cool, overcosted with the no reducers. The entire dial is really rough. His enemies fear him is a wild ability to give to a Steve Rogers. I love this 80-point line, though. Wow, it's amazing. It's really sick. But, like, yeah, his enemies fear him, where, what's it called? He gives an action token, I believe, to somebody within range if he uses leadership and succeeds. His Avengers Assemble ability, they all had an Avengers Assemble ability. This guy was great. It's when Captain America hits one or more opposing characters with an attack. The opposing player chooses, right, the opposing player to choose. Modify Cap's damage value. Modify Captain America modify damage value in front of the character by +1 this turn, or all opposing characters modify their attack values -1 until your next turn. So usually you would just give +1 damage to somebody else. But then it means they're going to hit you like super hard. So I like this Captain America. I like the main set one. I think he's a C tier Captain America, though. I hate to say it. The next Captain America, though, the starter set, he was so sick. When he makes a close attack, all squares and 6 squares in line of fire are considered adjacent. And he had charge with 12 attack, where he could just go out, boom, hit someone 6 squares away, and it was close. It wasn't ranged, which was so freaking sick. His leadership was also really solid. This guy, or is he? Put the guy C. This guy's an easy B tier. Loved this Captain America. He was also fun. This was around War of Light. You could give him the mallet, so he could have Quake, and he could, like, 6 square Quake people. It was really cool. So I like that Captain America. He's a solid B tier. Moving on to the Avengers Quick Start Kit Captain America. This one, he's a little wonky. Not gonna lie, he's just a little weird. I liked his dial design. He has no specials whatsoever, but it was like a really fun dial design. Quick Start Kit, where are you? Oh, wow, we do have First Avenger. I think we put First Avenger in C. I forgot about him. And then here's Quick Start Kit. Okay, so Quick Start Kit, I feel comfortable putting him in B because he was such a unique Captain America design at the time. So let's go check out the Quick Start Kit here. Yeah, this was called Grenade. His energy explosion down dial, sidestep CCE, which we loved to see back then. That was good. Flurry precision strike exploit, amazing clicks, love those. And then the charge quake, leadership, invulnerability. Starting invuln, I just love to see on Captain America. So I think, yeah, he deserves a B tier slot. I really enjoyed this Captain America. I thought he had a really fun dial. Hope everybody's still having a good 4th of July. We're just going to keep on trucking here. Next up, Avengers Assemble Captain America. He is like so not worth 150 points anymore, like at all. But he was really cool at the time, and I really messed with him. So he is going to get a solid B tier slot. He's gonna get B tier. He does not quite get into A tier, but man, at the time when he was this, he gives all these Avengers leadership. He was like such a team player where he only had toughness top dial for the 150 points you were paying for him, but he was such a team player. You were like, oh yeah. You would argue between this dude and the Nick Fury Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Steve Rogers at 150. You'd be like, I don't know which one's better. Steve was better in the long run, but like this guy, he was cool. He had a sidestep, 12 attack, close combat expert, and power. Loved that. Loved his traded ESD the whole time. But man, when you look at this dial nowadays, even though he'd be a 14 attack nowadays, it's just not great. And yeah, I wish he had just a little something more reducer heavy, and then I think he would be. I think he'd be higher. But I think he's B. I think he's B tier. We're gonna slap him in A. A is looking a little dry, and honestly, at the time, he was like the go-to leader of the Avengers. We are going to give Avengers Assemble Super Rare Captain America A tier. Now, Fast Forces Original Avengers. This guy's, man, this is tough. I like Fast Forces, OG Avengers, and I think at one point, I'm going to put him in A tier, and listen to me here. He has the whole power action, move a friendly Avenger half their speed. That comboed with so many Avengers so well, and I really liked it. And he also had a really good shield bounce ability. So I think as far as Captain America abilities go, I liked him. Now, okay, really quick to go back to Super Rare Captain America, though. I never liked this sculpt. I like that it's the Marvel Now Captain America, which was one of the coolest Captain America storylines in like 2014, 2015. So I loved that. I loved that armor. But he's catching it, and it's an effect coming back to him, would sometimes be like, oh man, is his like shield like shooting a laser is kind of how it looked sometimes. Although I do like it. It was like a wonky sculpt. These guys both deserve A tier though. Next up, the main Age of Ultron storyline. This is World War II Captain America. He's a solid B tier. He had like police team ability, which is cool. It referenced that Captain America was technically part of the police force. He has the triangle shield where he uses the Captain America motorbike as his speed power. But what's so weird about that is then they literally, the next set, they make a Captain America motorcycle, who you would want to have World War II Captain America use. But it didn't make sense because he already had hypersonic speed versus like charge that the motorcycle gave you. So it was really weird. That's not me dogging on this guy. It's dogging on the motorcycle. This guy was also cool. Captain America was starting out wit. We didn't see that a lot. So he's a solid B tier, but he was never like a go-to Captain America for me or a very iconic one. He was very unique, though, and I do enjoy that a lot. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. we're skipping because it's Sam Cap and Motorcycle Cap. Okay, the Civil War Caps, they're both C tier. Neither of these Captain Americas were particularly interesting. Fast Forces or main set, they were either Charge Precision Strike or Running Shot Precision Strike. They just weren't very cool, I guess. They weren't unique designs. Civil War was a pretty rough set, but for Captain America being the title character in Civil War, the main character, he was really bad. He was really tough. Now, this next Civil War, we're going to give the common also. We haven't, man, honestly, these guys go D tier. These guys suck. I don't even think they're on par with some of these Captain Americas. I really didn't. Just Civil War was just boring. That's what they suffered from the most, was being in Civil War, was they were just really boring. Next up is the Captain America Civil War event comic book series. This guy is going to go C tier. He's not amazing. He was pretty fun, though. He did this specific thing where he could like neuter someone with the armor robot keyword. He just gave him double action tokens that could deal pushing, which is pretty neat. And then yeah, he's got ESD, he's got toughness. He can't be targeted by attacks using range combat expert. That was kind of fun. He was meant to counter Iron Man. And then he had close combat expert and leadership as if he were 100 points. I don't think close combat expert had a use if you were 100 points, but leadership at 100 back then was okay. There just weren't that many Avengers, but this is a very solid Captain America dial. Just the starting with sidestep is a little rough, but I think that shows they're hesitant to fight each other in Civil War, so it's very flavorful. The next Captain America, however, him just going toe to toe with Tony, I love this Captain America. I kind of wish it would have had Battle Fury toward the end. I would have loved that for a Captain America. So he has these triple stock clicks at the end, which is stop, combat reflexes, toughness, which I love. love this. Improved movement, ignores elevated, hindering, and characters. He is gunning for Tony Stark. He is going to kill Tony, and then he has this like 6 speed. This is like an A tier Captain America. I love this Captain America. I think he is so solid. If we look at other things in A tier, I think he fits. He has a great sculpt that combined with that Iron Man to make the most iconic like sculpt really from Civil War, the most iconic moment in Civil War. His costume is battered. He is on the line fighting for his beliefs before he ultimately realizes it's hurting more people than it's helping. And it's such a beautiful moment in Civil War. It's such a heartbreaking end to that story. So I love this Captain America. I love the triple stop clicks. I love the never giving up. The never giving up, but also kind of the stubbornness of him and Tony, because they both had similar dials, but this Captain America was a ton of fun to play. I liked him a lot. After Civil War, we go Avengers Defenders War, and we get one of our best common Captain Americas of all time, who is a solid B tier. He would be higher if he was a little more interesting, but he just suffers from being a common. But wow, did he have such a cool like backline and like abilities and everything. So I really liked this Captain America. He was really fun. We are skipping the super rare Captain America from whatever Avengers Defenders War, because although he has the name Captain America, it's old man Steve Rogers with like his cane, so he just doesn't count. Sorry. We're also skipping Sam Cap because she's not a Steve Rogers. Okay, and now we go to Hydra Captain America. Now technically this guy should go to downright unpatriotic. He is gonna go in B though, because he was a really fun Captain America to play. He's not a traditional Steve Rogers. He's really technically not Steve at all. Weird mind warping reality, but just it was a cool suit. It was a unique take on Captain America. I wasn't a fan of like Cap saying Hail Hydra and all this stuff, but this was a fun dial. It was cool to like ignore an attack once per game potentially. Like that was really fun. The triple team ability was cool, and then giving Hydra and Avengers both being able to be on the same team was really cool, and it led to a lot of fun like team building stuff. So for that he gets B tier, but he could never be an A tier or a true American tier because it's Hydra Captain America. 15th anniversary. What if Hammer Captain America is also a solid B tier because he is just so fun to play. I love this guy. He's super fun to play. He's cool. It was tough a little bit with trying to get some of these abilities to work, but he's also our only Steve Rogers that we have in the Captain America suit that has Mjolnir. So great sculpt, lifting the hammer up, has the full shield. It's awesome. It's your end game Captain America piece to play. It's the most accurate to like hammer and shield Captain America. So I love to see that. And then he had a fun dial. He was really cool. Next up, we instantly go to Mighty Thor. Mighty Thor is tough. I gotta double check these. I really liked this Captain America. So to me, the Mighty Thor Captain Americas, they're really not like a traditional Steve Rogers Captain America, since they are this Asgardian chainmail and Asgardian shield and all this stuff. We're gonna put main set one though into B. I think these guys are both gonna go B tier because they're both really fun. They're both really cool, and I like to think of them as far as a movie game goes for Captain America. Yeah, we can do a Q&A after the list is done. That's totally fine. That's A-okay with me, guys. As long as people want to hang out, I'm here to hang out for a little bit here before we start doing 4th of July stuff. Both these Captain Americas, ton of fun. The 4 points for just straight up energy shield deflection. I love that. I dig that. It was really cool that I could just start with the starter set one. I love charge flurry plasticity on a Captain America. That is like seriously so cool. Seriously so fun. So, yeah, I love these guys, and I consider these guys for if you're going to play a movie game of Captain America, I would say these guys are your nomad Captain America with the Wakanda shields. That's what I would consider these dudes. Because to me, Charge Flurry Plasticity Blades, this guy right here, this is like 100% like that Captain America. The only weird thing is that he specifically works like as Guardian people. But I love this Captain America as a representation of Infinity War Steve Rogers. Captain Gwen America is not going to be in this set because I think her real name is Gwen Stacy, not Captain America. Otherwise, she would have been a maybe. This guy was just a ton of fun with his mid-stock flick, so I think giving them both B tier is cool. Okay, Secret Wars Battlefield Captain Americas. These are all shifting focus. I'm just going to consider them one Captain America. These guys, are honestly, they are up there for true American. We might move them down, but man, as a set of shifting focus, shifting from the standard Captain America who could choose running shot or close combat expert, so freaking good, and now so much better after the rules change. Holy smokes. With being able to charge a close combat expert and then also have like a 14 attack because he has 12 top dial. That was awesome. The ESD guy giving everybody ESD or blocking off a line of fire from a square with his shield was so good. And then the other Captain America was like very leadershipy Captain America. But if we consider these guys as a group, they were like my go-to Captain America for a while. I think they are above the A tier caps, and I think they deserve true American. Realistically, we should almost add a tier for Smoky Foot Cap because he's like untouchable. But I really like the Secret Wars Captain Americas. I played them so much. I played a team of like 3 of them on a team with some other filler Avengers, and they worked so well together. Like, these were a super fun Captain America. All the sculpt, every sculpt is like the same. The sculpt is nothing crazy special, but it's a solid Captain America sculpt where he's gonna, hit you with the shield, or maybe he's gonna like throw it. You can see either one, but also it was the first time we got Captain America with the energy shield as Captain America instead of just as Steve Rogers or as Commander Rogers. So like, that was really cool. Next up, Avengers Black Panther, and well, actually, we missed this guy. We have to do him because he came out as an LE. The Earth X, the very first Earth X Captain America. He gets A tier. He is not quite true American tier because he was really tough to work with, but his leadership, removing action tokens from every bystander and then anything up to like I think 150 points, was really solid. He had a fun ability where he could take items from people, which is very similar to his Paradise X story where he is gathering items and really specific relics and stuff from the Marvel Universe. Cloak's cloak, he gets like Rom the Space Knight's gun at one point, so that's really cool. So this guy has a great sculpt. He has the Skulls t-shirt that after he had already killed the Skull, it was an evil little kid, and like he feels so solemn that he had to take a life again and like murder, and that was the original reason he was kicked off the Avengers. And then again, iconic sculpt. Earth X is an iconic storyline. He has the A carved into his head. He has the classic American flag draped over his body, which would be illegal in this day and age to wear the American flag, like straight up an American flag is like a piece of clothing. But in his universe, the American flag has been changed. So he is trying to remember Old Glory as best he can, and it's such an iconic Captain America. It's such an iconic costume. I love it so much. So that's easy A tier. Technically, I would put him above some of these guys, but we have to wait. Okay, next up, we're gonna go Time Gem Captain America. He is an easy A tier as well. The only reason I can't totally put him into true American tier is because you have to play him with the Time Gem, and then his dial is only 6 clicks. If he was a 7-click long dial, I think it'd be easier to put him into true American. But he's got a great sculpt, iconic sculpt, shield bullets ricocheting off his shield. It's just, you have to play him with the Time Gem, and that can never be like a true Captain America when like this is specifically Cap with like the Time Gem equipped. So I don't really like that so much. So he's an easy A tier. Infinity Gauntlet Captain America, I guess we're gonna put him in B. I don't love this guy. He doesn't deserve to be in C though. That's just mean. But Infinity Gauntlet Captain America was cool. He was fringe. Taking 1 damage at a time was cool. His knockback 10 squares was really fun. He's just not quite an A tier like Captain America. He was tough to work with. 150 points was a little bloated at the time, but he was a lot of fun, and he was a really cool version of Captain America with the Infinity Gauntlet. So I could never hate on that. Before we get to Captain America and the Avengers, we do have the new guy Knight Captain America, who I think deserves a C tier. He wasn't crazy cool, but I did really enjoy him as a Captain America. He had combat reflexes, and they had ESD traded. He was very simple. He had a trait that gave him 1 standard power, ESD. I think it maybe also gave him leadership or something. And he just had a simple dial. So I liked that Captain America, the sidekick Knight Captain America. Him with the Iron Man and Thor were a fun team. So he's C tier. He's not great, but he's not bad. Next up is the Captain America set Captain Americas. I think deservingly going into A tier is the uncommon version of that Captain America. He was a lot of fun. He had the come back to life ability with the living legend trait, which is a ton of fun. So that alone, I think, puts him into A tier because that was such a good mechanic. He starts some impervious. He's got some triple targets. He's just a really solid Captain America. Now he has no shield bounce ability, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so he just has like a special leadership. But the dial was fun, and now he's a 13 attack with the Avengers team ability, which is so insane. But improvement characters hindering at the time, that was good. Avengers, Shield, Soldier, a modern day Captain America. And then yeah, the Avengers Assemble ability is like fine, is like solid. So I like this Captain America. The starter set I'm also going to put into A tier, and my reasoning with that was because he would make a ranged attack, hit you with the shield, he would catch it, and then you would be placed next to him, and then you would punch them, which is such a Captain America thing to do. Throw the shield as I'm running toward you, catch it, and then boom, right hook punch you, or right hook punch you. Like, I love the thematicness of that ability. So these guys both get to go A tier for purely like for dial and funness alone, and being almost iconic Captain Americas. The reason they probably don't get True American, if their sculpt was better, they'd probably be in True American. The sculpt is just so bad. I hate this catching here. Then he's probably going to like catch the shield and then put it on his arm is what this sculpt looks like. But he's just kind of holding the shield out here. It's very wonky. I never liked this sculpt, sadly. But again, there's not a ton you can do with Captain America, so it's unique in the way that it's doing something different, but it's just not a sculpt. It's not a sculpt I like. Avengers versus Masters. So now we're getting into modern stuff here. Finally into the modern age. Avengers versus Masters of Evil, Captain America. We're going to judge both of these, I think. I think we have both of them are separate. They are. So the first one where it's just like the leadership dial, that's a C tier. Fine. Leadership is like cool, whatever. 25 points for leadership is pretty nice. It's pretty cheap Avengers leadership, so that's nice. And then yeah, I would say B tier for this one. But he gives everybody just like a static +1 defense. Just straight up, period. So having like ESD toughness being 50 points, running shot, precision strike, 11 attack, 3 damage, which is what we like to see on our Captain Americas. Now with the Avengers team ability, even better. But just giving everyone a static +1 defense is really good. And it pairs well with a lot of other Captain Americas that give out like ESD for like a +3 defense from range. So I really, really like that. We missed Earth X somewhere in here. Yeah, we forgot to Earth X. This Earth X Captain America is true American. True American, true patriotic. I love this Captain America. He helped me win a States tournament. He is, I mean, he's one of the GOATs. This, again, he has the iconic Earth X costume, except he's running, charging forward. I don't think it's a better sculpt than the other Earth X Captain America, but it's a really good sculpt. He was a title character. I loved the title character ability, and I'll be darned if he isn't the title character of Earth X. He is the main character. We follow a few different groups, but ultimately Captain America's mission is the main point of Earth X. It was a perfectly represented dial with the being able to teleport and like snap Skull's neck, basically, where he's like a clay soldier and he can go next to blocking or 2 pieces of hindering terrain, teleport over there, catch you off guard, make an attack, and if you do, he gets to do it again next turn, which is really cool. His free move up to 1 space and then make an attack is so freaking good. And then 18 defend, running shot. I'm cool with this guy really not having a reducer because he is so offensive heavy. I like that he gives the big mind control protection. Oh, that's also what the other one gave too, which is cool. So as a title character, one of the best title characters ever. However, he had a crippling KO effect where you get it, like that reroll is really tough. But I think he had a good enough survivability down dial with some CCE, with the perplex, with the defend. He's 12 for 3. He has like great combat values. He's a true American in my eyes. I don't know if anybody else really ranks him there, but I used this captain when this guy came out. I instantly was like, oh, I'm gonna play him like almost every week while he's legal. And you did. He had the free like move a character 2 spaces as well, which like paired really well with that Hulk, which is fun. So this cap, he's easy true American, top of the tier list, Captain America. All right, where were we? We're at Empire. So this is a tough one. I did another live stream a long time ago when this guy was first showed off, the Empire Super Captain America, or Swap Cap. The dial, and I love the sculpt. I love now it's very similar to the other sculpt, but because he's running forward with the leap effect, he's about to like toss that shield and annihilate somebody with it. His shield is massive though. This is the first Captain America we had since the new sculpt update. I love this Captain America. I think he goes A tier for me. He should almost be in B tier because, man, I hate Swap. Swap is stupid. He has Swap that's like worse. I get it. Avengers is probably a better keyword than X-Men, But man, just like Swap is such a garbage ability. If he would have had a special attack power his entire dial that was like a shield throw ability, he would have been true American, true patriot Captain America. Because the dial is like a perfect Captain America dial. It's broken up very nicely. I believe it. This is Cap in armor, so yeah, maybe he has impervious with the shield right away, and he goes on some invulnerability a little bit. I like that a lot. I love the long dial. Captain America is always, even though he's just a human being, he's the person. He's like the last Avenger to fall. He stands his ground. He stands for what he believes in, and he holds his ground, and it's amazing to see. So yeah, that Captain America, he's an easy A tier for me. He could have been S tier. That's the only bad thing about this Cap, is that if he would have had a shield bounce ability, I prefer a shield bounce ability over a special leadership. Captain America is a leader, absolutely. The best leader in all of comics, really. But I think normal leadership does that fine. Maybe one where he can move people is good too, or take off a bunch of tokens anywhere. But honestly, to make this guy better, would have just been like a shield bounce ability, and he could have been an iconic Captain America. But instead, they gave him Swap, and I've never seen Captain... I mean, in a way, it kind of works for Captain America, being like, these are the Avengers we should have for this team. But to be like, oh yeah, these are the Avengers I brought with me. Ooh, you guys suck. Let me switch out really quick. Swap is just a terrible mechanic, and I hate it. So it suffers from that. Also in A tier, I feel pretty confident throwing this guy in A tier, is the... Ironically, his original version is down here in D tier, but Ultimate's Captain America Legacy card, terrible choice for the first Captain America to get a Legacy card. Absolute garbage choice. Why would you say out of all Captain Americas, this guy gets a Legacy card? Not iconic in any way. You can tell by the fact he's in D tier. But you made him iconic. You made him good. You made him 50 points. You cut off, 22 points. You gave him the Avengers team ability. He has this fun thing that's thematic, I assume, for Ultimates, that if a Black Panther dies, he can come in. I didn't read that part of Ultimates. I don't know what that is in reference to. I'm totally unfamiliar. But that's really cool that he works with the Black Panther, that he's sideline active. But, giving him straight up close combat expert and then free make an attack, beautiful. Love it. Amazing. So, he goes with a ton of Captain Americas that are better with the Venom Pump, the Venom Harness. So he also deserves A tier for that. He's a ton of fun. He can be an Alpha Strike Captain America. Oh man, we are all over on this list, and I feel really bad about this right now. We missed Cap Principled, who is going to find himself in C tier. Cap Principled was you can take off tokens with Incapacitate. You can do the big 8 square barrier thing. His thing was he gave all of your friendly characters Battle Fury when he died, which is wild. I thought he was a really fun Captain America. Maybe he should be in B. I think C is a little too hard on this guy. I think he should be in B because he was a lot of fun. He was just a really wonky title character. Again, though, I say one of the best Cap sculpts. The throwing the shield straight at you with the effect going toward you is really cool. The space helmet, okay, I get it. It's like Galactic Storm, Captain America. Yeah, it had the space helmet. Fine, whatever. I'm okay to forgive that. But it was still a really fun Captain America, and I super enjoyed him. But yeah, B tier I think is fine. Moving on, we are in War of the Realms. We give the non-recruiter Captain America, I believe. Yeah, this 60-point guy. Ugh. He goes straight to unpatriotic. I hate, and I do mean hate, the non-recruiter Captain America for 60 points. There is no reason this guy should be 60 points. He is straight up unpatriotic, and I hate him. He is awful. He is garbage. Recruiter is going to find himself in B. I don't love the Recruiter ability that much. It's okay. So maybe he suffers from them pushing a new ability. But he's a fine 45-point Captain America dial. Just nothing special. So I think B tier is fine for this guy. It's whatever. Next up, Avengers Forever. As much as I want to put this guy in A tier, I'm going to put him in B tier. He's a good 90-point Captain America. He's a very simple Captain America. I think if his team-up card, and this is with his team-up card also, thinking about that, he's a great, 9 Clicks of Life, 90 points, whatever, 5 Clicks of Life, 45 points. He's a very solid Captain America, traded leadership, traded ESD. I think for some people, he's probably an iconic Captain America, and he was in my top 10 characters of last year for Heroclix figures. But overall, not the Captain America you're going to go to. I like the sculpt a lot, though. It's really cool. He goes Yeah, I'm comfortable putting him in B. I think he could be A. I think argument could be made for putting this guy in A. I think if his team up card was Cap's Kooky Quartet with a Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and Hawkeye team up ability, he would have been an A tier because that's like such a cool time in comics. And like it's really funny that like those are the only four Avengers at one time, and it's really fun. But because he doesn't have that, it's just kind of a generic Avengers thing with like initiative. I think yeah, B tier is like fine for him. I want to put Smoky Foot Legacy in downright unpatriotic because he was the legacy card we were so excited for, and it was just not good, so bad. Part of power creep, part of everything, and technically, yeah, is he better than the old one? Yes, but he fails to capture the iconicness of the old one, where you could have made him better. Sure, improved movement or improved targeting outdoor blocking is no longer a thing. That's true. But you changed from deflection trajectory to shield ricochet. He goes in D. He goes in D tier. I can't quite call him unpatriotic. I want to call him unpatriotic because of how dirty you did Hammer of Thor Captain America and how this guy is just not a suitable replacement in modern age for him. At the very least, we get to play him again in modern and get a look at the sculpt. That's like the only redeeming quality. I think his weird leadership, willpower, healing is done better by these new Captain Americas we're about to get to. But yeah, it's just I can't quite put him in downright unpatriotic, but he is not. I can't say many nice things about Legacy Smoky Foot Cap. Okay, next up, the most recent three Captain Americas that have come out. Prime is an easy A tier. I have to play him more. We'll have to revisit this list at the end of the year when we get some more Captain Americas. Prime may end up being true American tier. He is fun. He is a beautiful moment from comics where he says, "No, you move," where he can't be knocked back. Other people can be knocked back on his turn. It's really, really cool. I like that dynamic a lot. So I think it's an easy A tier. I don't see him. I'm not in love with this sculpt. That's probably the biggest thing that detracts from me. Big shield sculpt. It's a really cool pose. He's like lining up the shot. But a lot of the times when I've gotten this Captain America and I've seen him pulled, he is like hunched over like this. And it looks very awkward. It's a very crunched in Captain America where I think Captain America should be standing proud and, tall and chest up and everything. So it's a very dynamic sculpt. It's cool, but it's not my go-to Captain America sculpt, I will say. This guy, yeah, he's probably like a C tier. The play at home kit one is like fine. It's like okay, it's whatever. Not big on it, not huge on it. Don't hate it, don't love it, type of deal. That's just the way it is. And then this guy goes to A tier. I think he belongs in the same tier, even though he is just as good. He might be A tier. I'm putting him in B. He might be A tier. He still doesn't have leadership. That's like the tough thing. Like can this be a well-rounded Captain America? Not really. He doesn't really have leadership. But you could say, oh, this is Captain America in his solo book. And then I'm like, okay, I'm kind of cool with that. But he is the same problem, right? I don't think his shield throw ability is accurate for what I imagine a shield bouncing is. It's this weird, like, close combat expert giant reach thing with flurry, so it's like maybe it bounces twice. It's a unique way to do the shield throw, but it doesn't play like how you. It doesn't. I don't know. It just maybe it gets the job done. It attacks a bunch of people. He can target them. I still just don't like the shield token, and I hate the idea of dropping the shield token. I'm such a bummer. This dude's defense tanks instantly. I think he's still in B tier, even with the legacy upgrade to him. This guy gets to be in B tier because he's iconic at the time. We already talked about him. This guy, he gets to be in B tier because he's like a straight upgrade. He's like way better, but he's still like missing leadership. He's still missing a lot of like Captain America powers we want to see. It leans into the whole shield token thing, which is fine. The shield token is very unique. I'm not in love with it. Last Captain America's Pegasus Captain America is easy. This is an easy true American. True American Captain America, holy smokes. Cap on the Pegasus is so insanely good. Now, I wish his 125 point line was better than his 40 point line. But as it stands, you would rather play 3 of him at 40 than ever one at 125 points. He ignores characters for movement. He's like flying around on the Pegasus. I've read this storyline. I think this is very accurate. I had to look up what Yarnbjorn does, but it's pierced like the armor of Eternals. So I think saying like no defense powers and getting past protected at wits, power cosmic, that makes sense to me. If it can pierce an Eternal's armor, that's way cooler. And like original Yarnbjorn should have not been, on a crit hit, 10 and 11 are crit hits. That's garbage. I mean, really, for what Yarnbjorn actually does in comics. So I think that's cool. He has one of the coolest costumes ever. Winter Captain America costume is great. They got the fluffy collar. He's staying warm. He's got the jacket with the star on it. It's really sick. It's a really sick costume. He's riding a horse. Maybe I'm a little biased. I love the giving out charge to people where he leads the charge. If he hits, he has hypersonic speed. That, to me, feels like a Valkyrie, a Pegasus flying around with the ignores characters for movement. He gives out ESD, which I love for Captain America to give out ESD. He gives it out the same way that like Spider-Man from War of the Realms gave out his super senses, and like Black Widow gave out stealth. So like that's very thematic with staying in the War of the Realms feel. And yeah, giving out charge, modifying speed +1 where Avengers are following his lead is great. I love the idea of him just having traded leadership. Does he have traded leadership? I kind of forget with his Captain America. He's not on HC Realms. So this is a big negativo for HC Realms not having him on here. It's like shame on you, HC Realms, for not having like the best Captain America on there yet. You've already seen him months ago, thanks to us at Dial H for Heroclix. So maybe I'm also a little biased with this Captain America that we got to preview him. But he's like goated. He is now one of the best Captain Americas of all time, just purely for how good he is. And I think he's one of the most comic accurate Captain Americas for that storyline of all time. This is the Captain America tier list. You guys, it's on the tier maker. I think you can search it and you can make your own. You can rank them however you want. So yeah, we might end up doing an alternate Captain America tier list where it's got like Sam, it's got like Venom Cap, it's got Carnage Cap, it has Gwen America. But for right now, this is the tier list. I'm going to wait a little bit to see if anyone has anything they want to say for some open discussion. But for right now, that's the tier list. I'm very happy with it. Kind of going back, feeling about who we put in A, I still feel pretty fine with everybody that's in A. These two are the ones I don't feel the most fine with. I hate this sculpt. Maybe just because I hate that sculpt so much. I feel uncomfortable putting the Captain America set, Captain America's in A. The Captain America set is also like one of the worst sets, in my opinion, because of how un-Captain America it is, which is a bummer. It just doesn't feel like a Captain America set. It feels like an Avengers and Masters of Evil set for sure. It feels more like an Avengers Masters of Evil Iron Man set than it does a Captain America set, which is really a shame. But those would be the only ones that I'm not in love with putting them in A tier. Maybe even Ice Cap should be down in B tier. I don't think anybody else goes down to D tier. And I think un-American, unpatriotic is like fine where it is. I think just the Infinity Challenge Captain Americas are such garbage. This guy was just slap in your face, terrible 60 points. And this guy's also just a slap in your face, terrible 60 points. Anthony, life's been treating me great. I am loving life. I love the country I'm in. Can't complain about that. America's the GOAT. And yeah, life's been treating me very, very well. Prime Cap is really good. See, and that's what I said when I put him in A. I was like, I do really like Prime Cap, but I think I just need to play him more. I only played him twice, and it tried to be on this like Alpha Strikey team for like 300 Modern competitive, and he like underperformed on those. Although he holds his own even after missing the first Alpha Strike. He holds his own super well. I think he'll probably get to True American by the end of the year if we revisit this list. But currently, I've played him so little that I can only feel comfortable putting him in A tier right now. But I do agree with you, Heroclix Headquarters. I do think you can argue it. Oh, dude, sick. So yeah, I love that tabletop. Ooh, that is really cool. Yeah, Avengers 60th Legacy Cap, I bet he is really fun. It's just, ultimately, the feel of a Captain America dial is not quite the feel I want it to be. And these guys, I think everybody in B tier is a super fun Captain America. It's not like the Captain America for its time. I think currently in modern, the Captain America for its time is like that prime Captain America. So really, maybe this Legacy should also maybe be in B, but he is just like such an upgrade. Maybe I'll put him in B. That's, honestly, with Shield Throw Legacy being equally as fun, and him just he would never be like your main cap on a build. He's like, oh, this is my Steve Rogers for a team. He really wouldn't be. He's more of a cool that he makes a free attack and he's cool on Alpha Strike. And I like that he can be meta because I play a meta at least anyways. But yeah, I think I'm gonna move him to B, the legacy for Empire. I don't know if we ever move up Shield Bounce to A though, even though he's really cool and he's really fun. I think so, Anthony. I think they're limiting themselves with what Cap sculpts can be. I agree with that. I think there's so much more to do with Captain America and a lot more poses to do. Although I will say, absolutely amazing sculpt is that jumping over the sandbags, pistol in hand, shield going back for a throw. Super Scientist to go back. Hey, I love that you love the channel. I love that you're getting back into it from all the way in 2002. Sorry to hear about your trouble with arthritis there, but I'm glad that Captain America is one of your favorite heroes. And I hope you enjoyed this list. But I think it's around 640. I assume people are going to start doing some 4th of July shenanigans here. But seriously, guys, let me know. I feel pretty confident here. I don't know if there's anything else I would change. This Prime really may go up to True American. As I play him more, I do just love his design. Do we end the stream without putting him in True American? I would feel, yeah. You know what? Let's put him in True American, and let's wait to see if he actually goes down from that spot. Because on paper, I do think he is like one of the most iconic Captain Americas ever made. Like, period. It comes from like the most iconic line Captain America's ever delivered in comics, like besides Avengers Assemble, the whole "No You" move, and that was like something that I would write out, you know, in my journal like every day. I'd be like, oh man, writing out the Captain America "No You" move speech. When I would give people like cards for graduation, I would write that out on their graduation card. So I think it's really fun. I love that speech. It's really good. The only bad thing is that it comes from a Spider-Man book. That's probably the only negative, just because I don't like Spider-Man. But it's such a good speech. It really is just such a goated speech. Yeah, I think we'll put him in True American, and we'll see if he would ever move down from that spot. But I think Heroclix Headquarters is right. I think he is such an iconic Captain America, such an iconic moment in comics. Such a great down. Man, I really hate that sculpt. I'll have to see. I'll have to play with it more. Maybe if he grows on me, he gets to stay in A tier. But we'll see. We'll see. But all right, guys. Have a happy 4th of July. Have a happy Independence Day. Even if you're not American, I hope you have a happy Independence Day. Wear some Star Spangled stuff. Wear some red, white, and blue. Wear some stars and stripes. It's 'tis the season. It's my like everyday look is like pretty patriotic. So I'm going a little extra today. Just, you know, be proud American. Be proud of where you're from, where you come from, like Captain America. Never forget the American dream, because that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. So, like always,